In a poor neighborhood of Mexico City, Adriana celebrates her 13th birthday. Her brother Jorge gifts her a girl's bicycle, which she delighted. However, sparking concern from their mother Lupe about Jorge's new acquaintances and source of income. Despite Jorge's departure for work, Lupe insists Adriana cannot keep or ride the bike. Meanwhile, on a flight to Mexico City, Veronica, a young Polish woman, practices English with a friend under the guise of joining a modeling agency. Their passports are confiscated by an older woman, triggering Veronica's suspicion. Vadim Yushchenko, the agency's leader, forcefully takes Veronica while his associate, Manuelo, handles the situation. A tragic accident claims Veronica's friend's life as she tries to escape, leaving Veronica distraught and silenced by Vadim amid the chaos. Jorge approaches an American tourist, offering a brochure with photos of naked young Mexican women, leading the tourist into a trap. Jorge's friends flank the tourist, robbing him at gunpoint, although the guns only shoot water. They then join a group of friends at a Mexican cantina to celebrate. The next morning, Adriana draws a thank you card for Jorge and disobeys her mother by riding her bicycle in the neighborhood. She notices a black car following her and tries to escape through a narrow alley, but the car cuts her off. Two men from the car grab Adriana and drive off, leaving her bike behind. While hanging out, Jorge sees a boy riding Adriana's bike. He chases and catches the boy, who claims he found the bike on the street and offers to show where. They find the bike's location, with Adriana's card nearby, but no clues Adriana's whereabouts. Their only hope is a local official, Don Victor. Victor suspects Russian traffickers targeting young virgins in Mexico City, warning Jorge of their dangerous network. He explains how the traffickers move girls through contacts in the city and eventually smuggle them into America, selling them for high prices to men seeking young virgins. Veronica is forcefully taken to a stash house by Vadim and Manuelo, where she and other captive girls face the terror of impending slavery. Veronica pleads with Vadim, who callously tears a photo of her son and subjects her to physical violence. As Veronica endures further humiliation, her thoughts race back to a deceitful encounter at a Polish travel agency. Promised opportunities in Los Angeles via Mexico City, she now realizes it was a calculated ruse to ensnare her into a harrowing ordeal. Jorge arrives near an alley where young women are displayed like commodities, searching for Adriana, but she's not among them. Jorge spots Adriana with Vadim and Manuelo in a mirror's reflection and rushes to pursue them. Veronica, in the truck with Adriana and other captives, notices one girl becoming dangerously ill from the drugs they've been given. She warns Adriana not to take any more pills. The truck stops, and they encounter Mexican border agents who are corrupt and complicit in the trafficking, trading leniency for sexual favors. Veronica is selected by one agent, and he climbed the truck to satisfy himself. Adriana is made to dress up and pose for a provocative photo. Jorge breaks down in tears behind a rock slope. Meanwhile, Jorge's own desperate pursuit is interrupted when his car runs out of fuel near Juarez. Adriana tries to share food with Veronica, who remains fixated on the torn photo of her child. Manuelo enters and taunts Veronica for not eating. Veronica confronts Manuelo, predicting that he will face consequences for his actions. Meanwhile, Jorge finds a shop where he drinks water, and spotting the produce truck once more, Jorge's determination to rescue Adriana intensifies. Jorge explores the abandoned space. He hears approaching footsteps and hides as Ray Sheridan, an insurance fraud investigator, enters. Jorge discreetly follows Ray as he inspects the cage where the captives were held, noticing faded sketches on the walls. Meanwhile, Manuelo leads Veronica, Adriana, and the other children towards the Rio Grande River. Veronica bravely takes the lead, wading across the river. Adriana and the children follow, with Manuelo urging them on from behind. As they reach the other side, a border patrol vehicle arrives, prompting officers to apprehend everyone. Manuelo threatens the children with harm to their families if they speak up. Ray settles into a motel in Juarez and calls his wife, Patty, without revealing the purpose of his trip. He promises to return home the next day, though Patty mentions their cat needing veterinary care. Reflecting on an old photo of a young girl, Ray's thoughts linger as he prepares to cross the border the next morning, listening to news about increased border security measures under President George W. Bush. Meanwhile, Manuelo and the captives find themselves in an immigrant detention center. Veronica desperately tries to alert a guard to their situation, but he dismisses her pleas, leaving her frightened and unheard. On the American side, as Ray stops at a gas station, he hears a noise from his trunk and discovers Jorge. A brief struggle ensues, with Ray overpowering Jorge and revealing himself as a law enforcement officer. He informs Jorge that they're heading to the police station together. Jorge confesses to Ray why he stowed away in his car, to sneak into America to find his kidnapped sister, Adriana. Ray, still cautious but intrigued, suggests they go to the police, believing they can help if Jorge's story holds true. However, Jorge is distrustful of both Mexican and American police. Meanwhile, Manuelo and the captives are deported back into Mexico, marching along a different route. At a Catholic shrine, the children pray, including Veronica, who notices Manuelo also praying. At the police station, Ray grapples with believing Jorge's tale. He instructs Jorge to wait while he seeks out his superior officer, realizing he should have handled Jorge differently. Ray returns determined to help Jorge himself, revealing he has connections that could assist in their search. Despite his earlier skepticism, Jorge realizes he has little choice but to trust Ray's offer. Manuelo escorts captives across a river, meeting Alex Green, who continues transporting them toward New Jersey. At a rest stop, they encounter a grim scene where trafficked girls are traded to clients. When Manuelo tries to remove Adriana from a vehicle, Veronica intervenes, offering herself instead. Manuelo strikes Veronica, and forcibly takes Adriana. He sells Adriana's services to a middle-aged man, emphasizing her virginity and prohibiting from regular intercourse. Adriana is repeatedly sold and forced to blow with multiple men. Meanwhile, Ray and Jorge are dining at a rest stop when Ray notices a man with a young Thai boy in a booth. As the man abruptly leaves with the boy, Jorge recognizes the child and rushes after them, causing a commotion that attracts a police officer. Jorge, lacking identification, faces scrutiny until Ray intervenes, presenting his badge and claiming Jorge as his son. Jorge informs Ray that he saw the same Thai boy being taken away in a truck similar to the one Adriana was forced into earlier. Spotting the man again leading the boy towards a restroom, Ray warns him about the approaching police. The man reveals he bought the boy from traffickers but has no knowledge of the other victim's whereabouts. As the police move in to arrest the man, Ray learns there's no new leads on the missing trafficked girl's location. Manuelo uploads photos of Adriana to a child trafficking website while Veronica hears Adriana crying in the bathroom, and Veronica reassures her. Meanwhile, at an internet cafe, Ray navigates to the trafficking website using acquired usernames and passwords. He discovers photos of trafficked children, including Adriana, listed as Maria, aged falsely as 15, along with an auction ID indicating bidding will start at $500 soon. Jorge, recognizing the photos from Manuelo's earlier actions, Ray passes this critical information to his contact. Jorge learns that Ray obtained the information from the man they encountered. They urgently plan to reach New Jersey before Adriana is auctioned off. While they are stopped off the road, Veronica and Adriana successfully escape from Manuelo and Alex. They reach a town in the midst of a parade and celebrate their freedom briefly. Veronica spots a police officer and instructs Adriana to approach him while she tries to call her family from a nearby payphone. Veronica, overwhelmed, attempts to warn her mother about the danger they're in, but is interrupted when her mother mentions that Gregor, Veronica's son, has supposedly already arrived in America with people who showed up with all the right papers she signed. Veronica, devastated by the news that her son Gregor is in the trafficker's custody. As Manuelo and Alex corner her and Adriana, Manuelo prepares to punish Veronica severely for their escape attempt. However, she confronts Manuelo with a chilling smile, vowing to ensure he pays for his crimes. Veronica suddenly leaps off the bluff before Manuelo can react, choosing to end her life rather than face further torment. Adriana, Alex, and Manuelo are left stunned and horrified by Veronica's desperate and tragic act of defiance. In New Jersey, Alex leaves Manuelo and Adriana under the supervision of Laura, a Mexican-American overseer in the trafficking ring. Laura shows frustration upon learning that Veronica and the Brazilian girl did not survive, resulting in a significant financial loss for their boss, Vadim, amounting to $50,000 due to the failed delivery. Ray and Jorge settle into a Holiday Inn where they discover that Adriana's online auction is scheduled to start at 2 p.m. Ray leaves Jorge at the hotel, and meets with Detective Hank Jefferson and local Detective Henderson. They discuss the expansive scope of the trafficking operation, which spans across global jurisdictions. The auction website is hosted on a server in the Maldives, and the traffickers' financial transactions are managed through a bank in South Africa. The Internet Crimes Unit is cautious, aiming to gather extensive intelligence to dismantle the operation strategically without prematurely disrupting it and causing it to go underground. Ray becomes frustrated by what he perceives as a lack of urgency and concern for Adriana's fate amidst the broader investigative strategy. Ray had a phone call with Patty about withdrawing money to search for his daughter Carly. Ray shows Jorge a photo of Carly, his daughter from an affair he had with Alma in Juarez. Alma recently died from an overdose, and police found a letter addressed to Ray, revealing Carly's existence and potential sale due to Alma's addiction. Ray learned from a detective that Alma went to Juarez around the time she wrote the letter and returned without Carly 2 years later. Adriana, dressed as a schoolgirl in captivity, prays for Veronica's happiness in heaven and asks her to intercede with the Virgin Mary. She hopes to be sold to a kind man if she is auctioned off. Meanwhile, Jorge and Ray monitor Adriana's auction from a hotel internet center, where they participate in a harrowing bidding war against bidders named Little Buddha and South African Master. Jorge is emotionally overwhelmed as they are repeatedly outbid, but Ray advises him to wait until the last moments of the auction to bid $32,000. Miraculously, they win the auction. Ray receives a call from Laura, who instructs him to bring the money to a location in exchange for Adriana. However, Manuelo demands he get into his van or risk the deal falling through. Ray complies but cleverly leaves Jorge hidden in the trunk of his car to follow Manuelo discreetly. Manuelo brings Ray to the stash home, where he is greeted by Laura. Ray hands over the money to Manuelo, who processes it through a counter. Laura, her suspicions aroused, confronts Ray about being a prospective cop. Ray has to take Adriana upstairs and make out with her in the bedroom. If he doesn't, Laura knows he's a cop and will kill him. If he does, he is now a juvenile offender. Adriana is a virgin, hence there will be blood on the sheets following lawful intercourse. In the room, Ray assures Adriana that he is here with Jorge to rescue her. Adriana enters the restroom, and Ray hears her cry out in anguish. She appears with her blood on her hand to deceive Laura, but Manuelo opens the door to check in just in time to capture Adriana in action. Adriana tells him it's not too late and reminds him that Veronica is watching. Manuelo wanders down in a stupor, claiming to Laura that her demand to Ray has been met. Laura turns Adriana over to Ray and Manuelo before they depart. As they leave, Laura taunts Ray with a sarcastic remark. Suspicious, Ray glares back at her, prompting Manuelo to glance back nervously. Suddenly, Jorge emerges and attacks Manuelo. Amid the chaos, Laura aims her gun at Ray, but police swiftly surround her. After a tense standoff, Laura surrenders, revealing a hidden room in the basement where numerous children are rescued by the police. Ray assures Jorge that Hank's men will safely escort him and Adriana back to Mexico. Ray also gives Jorge the money he used for the rescue from his own savings. Driving home, Ray discovers Jorge has returned the money to his car. Back at home, Ray brings a cat to his wife. Meanwhile, in Mexico City, Vadim says goodbye to his family. Outside, Jorge spots Vadim and fatally stabs him in revenge for Adriana. As Jorge walks away, he sees Vadim's son witnessing the scene, leaving him stunned. For more videos similar to this, don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications. Thank you for watching.